Life gives life. The wind and the bees distribute the flower seeds. They land in the soil, waiting for the right conditions to germinate. The inner and outer sun attracting the core of the seed, and roots start spreading out. The next life emerges. In an organic earthly reality, life is in a constant movement of creation. The ending of one expression in form slowly withdraws, while another comes into manifestation. It is in humanity's blueprint to be able to fit into this organic cycle of life. Sadly, it is in the collective mind of humans where a seeming sabotage has taken place. A hijack by a nefarious force which throws humans out of alignment with the natural, organic flow of life. Over time, humanity has deviated so much that the mind has become diseased, and the result is the increasing decline of life on planet Earth. The growth of the world population over the centuries has been marked by significant changes, with periods of slow growth followed by rapid expansion. For most of human history, the population grew very slowly, with estimates suggesting that around 12,000 years ago, there were only 4 million people worldwide. The population reached 1 billion around 1800, and it took until the early 19th century for the population to cross this threshold. The 20th century saw an unprecedented increase in population, with the global population more than quadrupling from 1.65 billion in 1900 to 6 billion in 2000. With a small global population, the mind virus may not have been that obvious. But with the Earth populated with large swathes of humans, the chaotic energies have become obvious. All the more as a result of digital technology, which is moving humanity further and further away from its essence as spiritual beings, having a temporary human experience.
I've been warning for decades now about the plan to change the nature of the human body to a much more synthetic state.
The World Health Organization declared a COVID-19 pandemic outbreak on the 11th of March 2020, causing severe social and economic disruption around the world, including the largest global recession since the Great Depression.
Good morning, Becky. This is the news that we've been waiting to hear. Pfizer and BioNTech reporting the first results from their phase 3 vaccine trial, saying that in this interim look, the vaccine showed to be more than 90% effective in preventing COVID-19 cases. Now, they also say no serious safety concerns were observed in the trial so far.
According to experts, the COVID-19 vaccine would lessen the severity of the disease by teaching the immune system to recognize and fight the virus that caused it.
I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor, an actual medical doctor.
I've practiced medicine for 21 years.
I spent 4 years in undergraduate school, then 4 years in medical school,
and then another 5 years as a resident in emergency medicine.
Get the vaccine.
Get the vaccine.
Just get the vaccine.
Grow the up and get the vaccine.
Until you're
One of the things these COVID vaccines are supposed to contain is graphene. And graphene not only is a superconductor of electricity, and how does the brain communicate and the body communicate with itself through electrical means, it's also an amplifier of electromagnetism in the body. So if you've got graphene in the body, then if you come into contact with an electromagnetic field, that field will impact on the body, will be very, very significantly magnified.
Many doctors and nurses, seeing the harm their patients suffered from receiving these vaccines, provided us with vials so we could conduct analyses. AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Sinopharm, and CanSino, we found more than 10 undeclared chemical elements. Among them were aluminum, copper, iron, manganese, platinum.
It feels and it's exactly like calamari. I've never seen anything like it though, prior to halfway through 2021, and the way that started, we was having trouble embalming people, and I thought the pump was knackered, and it wasn't the pump. And when we had a young lad in that had died suddenly and been given a post-mortem, and the family had asked us to embalm him, and as we've opened him up and gone to manually target, you could see it all hanging out of him.
Based on the fluorescence coming off the membrane of this construct, we're looking at a pegulated hydrogel and the contents within that, which is self-assembled into a rectangular biochip made of foundationally graphene oxide.
I've seen people with Morgellons where they feel as though in kind of two places, like two dimensions, they feel bidimensional, you know, and they say, I don't understand this, what's happening? I said, well, you're becoming transhuman because the particles nowadays have an element of, it's a metallic element, and it can actually switch dimensions. That's why it's really hard to heal Morgellons, because if you use chemicals or use things to try and detox it, it'll just switch out and disappear. And then when it feels safe, it'll come back.
We've seen a construct organization. Here again, it can be a saline origin or it can be graphene origin. But here again, it's charge related. This assembly that takes place, it looks very complex, very much like biosensors. I'm not saying they are biosensors, but they can act as to be able to, based on our research, receive and transmit information. These are the biosensors that are made from a base of graphene. Here we're seeing it again. The discs that you're seeing, these are red blood cells, and you're seeing some particulates within these organizations, these rectangular organizations. You're seeing what appears to be graphene oxide.
People who have Morgellons, or now in quotes the COVID jab, they're on Bluetooth. You know, if you get your phone and you switch, you know, you go into the settings, quite a complex thing on, but I've done it on mine. You go into settings and then go into developer mode. You can actually switch on unidentified Bluetooth devices. So if you switch that on, if you go into a store and people have had the vaccine, you're going to get just a list of numbers, you know, coming up, which is the transmission from that person.
My name is Caroline Mansfield. I'm a naturopath. I've been a naturopath for the last 25 years. I've been working with a company called Masterpiece. The Masterpiece formula contains nanoclinoctillite zeolite, known as zeolite Z, in a mineral-rich C plasma solution. So zeolite Z carries a strong negative charge. As they travel through the body, they absorb positively charged toxins into their cage-like structure, attracting them like a magnet. There's been a lot of talk about humans emitting a MAC address. And there was the amazing study done by the Blue Truth documentary, Dr. Chavez.
Marzo-abril del 2021 empezamos a detectar magnetismo en el sitio de inoculación de las vacunas. Ese fue el primer hallazgo. Después, compañeros de los vacunados que no estaban vacunados empezaron a decir que también ellos tenían magnetismo en alguna parte de su cuerpo. Ante esa evidencia, nos hicimos de un medidor de frecuencias electromagnéticas y entonces empezamos a medir la radiofrecuencia del vacunado y del no vacunado. Nos llamó la atención que no nada más había un fenómeno magnético, sino que también estaban funcionando como una gran antena.
And also there was a French study run by scientists, and there was another study, a Spanish study. And what they were saying is that this nanochip, these nanochemicals or nanocompounds coming together, self-assembling to form these nanochips, have graphene oxide in them as well as other compounds. And this is what's giving out the signal. And we were thinking, well, if we were able to prove that Masterpiece removes graphene oxide and a lot of these other compounds that are shown to be part of this nanotechnology, then would we be able to, or would Masterpiece be able to dismantle this technology or remove these toxins so then people aren't emitting this MAC address any further?
We had some of our naysayers and trolls say, well, if Masterpiece can't turn off the Bluetooth signals, then I don't even want to hear about it.
My name is Mamcho Pablo, but my friends and people know me as Manu. I got interested in this project for about 2-3 years ago when I started seeing these unknown devices, and there's a lot of history going on.
I had 2 COVID vaccinations, and I think since the second COVID vaccine, it disrupted my menstrual cycles. That's kind of part of why I want to flush anything out.
We are using here equipment that is a little bit more advanced than just phones. So what I'm doing now is I'm using 2 different apps to capture the signal. And what we're observing now here is we observe unknown Bluetooth devices. So there are several of them, several emissions coming up.
And if we go to radar and then we go to the DLE app, and again we're picking up on the Bluetooth address. So I'm going to do, so this is a retest for Chantal. We're picking up on an unknown.
So I'm Chantal, you all came to Burton Hole, and I did a bit of research about the supplement and I thought it would be interesting to try, so here I am.
And have you had COVID vaccinations?
Yes, 2.
So this is why we are doing it both ways. Laptop using Linux is more sensitive. So in some cases, like in this one, as we see right now, the laptop picks it up, but the phone does not pick it up. And the more reliable source in this case will be the laptop, especially using Linux.
When did you have the COVID vaccine?
So, I believe it was around 2 years ago. Yeah, I delayed the booster though. I think that was about 9 months after.
So this application can present the power of a signal in a graphical manner, because actually they use it when you lose your earbuds and then you look for them. So this is the power of the signal, and the higher the graph goes, the more powerful the signal is. It means that it's comparatively close, this one. Can you please come closer? Yeah. Thank you. Let us see if you like really close. If we can see. Now, do you see it on the? Can the camera catch this thing? You see? The power of the signal went up. So it varies because Bluetooth signal always jumps up and down. But if you can see now, if you compare this one with this one, it definitely went up. What has been discovered is that when a person is inside of a EMF, electromagnetic field, this triggers the Bluetooth signal on. It activates the nanoparticles. And on a previous study, the Mexican study, they had 6 people. When they came without phones, only 2 people had signals. But when they came with phones turned on, no Bluetooth signal on, just Wi-Fi on and mobile data on, all of them had Bluetooth signals. So this is why we're going to give her now to hold phones, hopefully triggering this signal. That it has captured some signal.
I've heard from some of the most amazing people that there's nothing more powerful in our world than an idea whose time has come.
When I had this little girl and I was aware of what was going on in the world, I thought there's no way I'm gonna be able to protect her. And so I would walk around on my property at night, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do so I didn't have to spend my later years watching her get eaten alive by this evil, corrupted world. I had a good partner of mine and I told him one day, we're gonna make a product that's gonna change all this. Not that I believe in divine intervention at all. I've been forced to challenge that belief now because of what's happened with this progression of Masterpiece. But lo and behold, one day I called Nano Labs looking for help because we were developing a formula and a product out of my camper and it wasn't working. We were destroying a nano equipment called an ultrasonicating homogenizer, the titanium dioxide bit, and caught a gentleman who had been working on lipid nanoparticles his whole life. And he had NDAs with Pfizer and with Monsanto. And he was watching his whole life's work used to harm humanity in the COVID shots. And so when I told him I wanted to make a natural formula that was going to get the harmful things out, he, Michael Coe, who's the chief scientific officer at the time for Kansas State University and founder of Phoreus Biotech Nanolabs, who's used to working for millions of dollars, decided he was going to help little old me. He told me at the time he was going to do it for $10,000, which means he was going to reverse engineer some other products that were similar, other nanozeolite products, and he was going to help with getting the formula ready. And in the end, he ended up not allowing me to pay him. He said he was going to get paid back by watching people's body be able to heal themselves.
And he said that he'd like me to do some testing around it with blood analysis and with my microscope. And I said, well, that's all very well, but that's just qualitative analysis. We're going to get some pretty pictures, but we're not really going to get any details about the product or, you know, how this is working in people. I said, if you really want to drill down, I said, let's do some proper clinical studies on it with laboratory, third-party lab, work with to do with urine, hair and blood. And we can do before and after people taking Masterpiece. I had been searching labs up and down the UK to ask whether anyone was testing for graphene oxide in the body. And the labs would tell me no. And I said, well, why not? And they said, well, because it's not in humans. So just fortuitously, I found a lab in Germany, IGL Labs at the time, and they were testing for environmental toxins, over 900 different environmental toxins, including graphene oxide. We ran a small pilot study of 3 people, and we did a baseline test of their blood, and this blood had to be taken and sent to Germany it has to be there within 48 hours, otherwise the blood can't be used. So there's a lot of critical timeline about taking the blood and getting it for this particular test. But when we got the baseline test results back for all 3 test subjects, we saw that everyone had high and very high levels of graphene oxide.
As we reported Tuesday, a new scientific study is shedding light on the particles that make up plastic water bottles. The study found a liter of bottled water could contain some 240,000 nanoplastics. Experts say those tiny pieces can break off and potentially enter our digestive tracts.
We just also tested for polyethylene and polypropylene, two plastics, and two forever chemicals, PFOA and PFOS. And everyone's levels were high and very high. And then we ran the test again at the 35-day mark. And when the results came back, we could see that everyone had come down from the high and very high levels down to what we call the borderline level range now. The test subjects continued to take the product, and then we decided on the 90-day mark to redo the testing again. And when they all came back, they were now, it had tracked down further, and everyone's levels were in the tolerable ranges. When we discovered that, this product was really bringing down these levels, we rolled out another study, which was now a 24-person study, but with a placebo group. We also were including a lot of other environmental toxins, including, for example, atrazine, which is the hormone dysmorphia chemical. It's a herbicide.
When administered to male frogs, atrazine chemically castrates them and even causes some to change their sex entirely. In humans, atrazine is an endocrine disruptor. That means it causes changes to your natural hormonal balance. For newborn boys, atrazine exposure in utero is correlated with lower birth weight, undescended testicles, and deformities to sex organs.
In water, in the tap water being drunk in America, it's 0.03 parts per billion. It's higher than what was used in the study on the frogs. So it's just quite an interesting one when we're thinking about all this transgender and this movement going on.
Dr. Stricker says Morgellons is linked to Lyme disease.
So these fibers that are seen in Morgellons patients, they're not some worms or lint or something from outer space. What they are is they're fibers that are produced by the patient's own cells. And for some reason, these patients with Lyme disease overproduce these fibers, and then they come up through the skin and cause these weird lesions. So the bacteria that causes Lyme is called a spirochete, transmitted by the bite of a tick. We've looked at a number of Morgellons patients. The last study, I think, had 25 patients that had skin lesions with fibers. All of the patients essentially had infection with the Lyme bacteria.
The way Morgellons worked is they dust you with it. It's smart dust. They call it smart dust, but it's Morgellons particles. And they put it in the skin, sinks through the skin, and then it's not replicating. So why not? Well, because your immune response is such that it keeps it dormant within the body. But what happens if your immune response is damaged? Now, how do you damage someone's immune? Oh, you damage the DNA. DNA, RNA, immune system is all connected. If you speak to virologists, they say, oh, no, they're not. Well, of course they are.
It was absolutely abhorrent that they would even think of this. And they were pushed into this by Pfizer and all the people that Pfizer and Moderna wanted to get this into absolutely everybody. These were not vaccines. These were horrible gene therapies that could actually integrate into your genome. And this is one of the reasons we're seeing this horrendous rise in turbo cancers.
The graphene oxide spheres are loaded. Now think about that, 10 to the minus 9 small. If you look at a football, we blow it up. Look at a football. If you drill 92 holes in it, and then you have an antenna into the center of it, and then what they do is they load pathogens, bacterial structures, all types of things like Marburg virus. I've seen cerebella zoster come up a lot lately, which is chickenpox, but it goes straight into shingles. It doesn't seem to. I've had a few people with the spots on their skin, but most of it has gone into shingles.
The burning pain of shingles makes you feel like your skin is on fire. It's caused by the same virus that causes chickenpox. Dr. Vandana Bidet says after you've had the chickenpox, the virus can live in your nervous system for years. No one's sure why it reappears, but the thought is if your immune system weakens because of illness or the aging process, the virus can reactivate and travel along your nerves to your skin, causing severe pain and blisters. The pain can happen days before the rash erupts. There's no cure, but medication may lessen symptoms and shorten suffering. A vaccine recommended for people age 60 and over can help prevent shingles.
Each container is triggered at a different frequency. Now, when Morgellons was around before this vaccine, before the 5G, it was monitored by satellite, which is gigahertz frequency. I mean, now the 5G monitors it, you know, and the 5G is between 30 and 300 gigahertz. A microwave oven is what, 2.44 gigahertz. So you can see that it's high frequencies and they can monitor, you can monitor your whole body, even sexual activity, everything.
Brandy is an expert in this field. She is fighting on behalf of all of us.
Brain-computer interface are basically wearable devices, like your Oculus. You can wear a watch, and they will be able to read our thoughts, as well as send thoughts into our brain. Our bodies and our brains are electrical, we're energy, so it's able to, the brain-computer interfaces and the wearable devices are able to interact with our minds and pull our thoughts out of our brains and put them into a computer.
How does it do that?
The signals.
That what, like electromagnetic signals?
The frequencies, electromagnetic signals and frequencies, yes.
So, I mean, right now, does that technology already exist?
Yes, it does.
The idea is to create a situation in which the human body is connected to a hive mind. This is why we're seeing this incessant move towards a fusion between humans, the human body, the human brain, and artificial intelligence. Because at that point, and they're openly saying it, people like Ray Kurzweil, the so-called Google futurist, is saying that by 2030, this fusion will be happening, and once it's happened, artificial intelligence will do more and more of human thinking, these are his words, until human thinking as we know it is basically negligible. In other words, humans will think what AI thinks, and there will not be any human thought, individual thought, as we've known it.
As we merge with AI this way, we will become a hybrid species. We'll still be human, but we'll be enhanced by AI. Do you consider people who have cochlear implants, or pacemakers, or prosthetic limbs to be less alive? Of course not. These are early examples of merging with machines. Our machines are going to continue to shrink in size and gain in power to the point where they are invisible and inside our bodies. As we merge with technology, we will no longer be limited by our biology. We'll be free to live life without limits.
When we were looking to do the next testing phase, we were waiting for IGL Labs to let us know when they were able to do that, because they had sent us a message to say that they were having technical problems with their equipment. So all the second date testing was delayed slightly. And then we got finally a message saying that they weren't going to be doing any more testing because the owner of the lab had suddenly died and they had stopped all testing at the lab. So obviously this was really disappointing for our study, but also it became obvious that for some reason this testing that they'd been doing for the last, well, since 2009 was no longer going to be available. So this was like a real disappointment for humanity, because there's no other lab around the world that was testing for graphene oxide.
We'll be able to actually tell what's going on in our neocortex. You don't have to interface with the entire neocortex. The neocortex is like a pyramid. At the very top, you've got the key ideas. That's where you need to connect to. You don't need to, right now you can do that with surgery, but you'll be able to do that without surgery by sending things that can sense the neocortex through the bloodstream. There's experiments of that, but that'll happen in the 2030s. So we'll actually merge with it. We won't actually carry all the AI with us. It'll go to nearest cloud. I mean, this is actually not that intelligent unless it interfaces with the cloud. And that's where it gets all of its intelligence. And cloud can be actually very secure. We use encryption that's virtually unbreakable. So your thoughts will actually go to the cloud. There'll be AI there. It will be as if it's in your mind, but you'll be connecting to it through the cloud. The cloud will be much more sophisticated than it is today. It's not going to get down as much and so forth.
I think that it's vital that people are on the case, exploring and investigating ways that this technology, this nanotechnology, can be eliminated from the body.
Caroline and Manu are meeting their test subjects 1 month after the first test day. They've been on 10 drops a day.
I'm enabling now both the inner adapter of the laptop and the outer adapter. Okay, so this is what we got. So we got here 3 signals.
The same as the Apple.
The same as Apple, yeah. Very close. Can we? Can you actually get up and stay next to her?
Yeah, okay.
But stay for a while. Let's say half a minute or to see if there is any change in the signal. Or
it's just hovering around. How much have you got with the masterpiece left?
Probably about that much left.
Okay. Would you mind continuing to take it? Yeah. If I give you another bottle. Same continuation for another a month, and then we'll do a retest.
Sure, was it different at all today?
Still picking up on something.
Okay, right.
When she left the field, all of the signals went away. So now we definitely can say these signals are connected with this subject. When he walks forth and back, the signal, there will be differences in the power of the signal.
Would you mind continuing to take Masterpiece for another month?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah. So still just one signal?
Still one signal.
So one less.
One less, because there was 2 last time, wasn't there? Which is true, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we're still picking up on a signal. So it may be that you need to take Masterpiece for a little bit longer. Would you be happy to do that?
Yeah, no problem. I actually feel better on it, so I don't...
You feel better on it? Okay, that's good.
What are the effects?
I would say, basically, I had a lot of problems with sleep for like a long time, and that was the first thing that kind of like changed it.
So the Masterpiece formula has a negative oxidation reduction potential of around minus 90 millivolts, meaning it's alkaline and rich in free electrons. This electron doning effect helps to electrically support the cells, similar to walking bare feet on the earth and absorbing electrons from the ground. It provides an antioxidant-like boost by helping neutralize free radicals. I've never known a product to be critiqued quite as much as Masterpiece. But when you look at the actual attacks, they're very odd. So during the COVID times, you know, a lot of people went out and bought compound microscopes, and they were looking at things under the microscope. And initially I thought, well, this is great. People doing all this sort of, you know, ground research at ground level. I thought it was a really good thing. But the trouble is that, I mean, I've been doing live blood analysis for 25 years. I'm trained in looking at blood. I'm not trained in materials microscopy looking at product under a microscope. That's a whole different training. But I myself was beginning to look at product under the microscope, more from just an eye of interest, because you can't quantify anything by looking at a product using a compound microscope.
With the Bluetooth signals still being in the body, Masterpiece also has to deal with other criticisms. Dr. Anita Baxas expresses her concerns in the podcast called Truth, Science and Spirit.
Okay, this particular product said it has marine plasma in it, and we all know oceans are polluted like crazy. So I wanted to know, does it contain toxic metals? And the lab I used usually tests urine, blood, hair, and stool, and not really substances. So I had to use some subterfuge to get that tested. So I took a urine sample, sent that in, and I took part of that same urine sample and mixed it 50-50 with that product and sent it in as well. And on the left, we see just the toxic metals found in urine. There are quite a few, but not very high levels. And then on the right side, we see what was found in that 50-50 mix, and they are literally off the charts.
The response of the Masterpiece team is that testing a urine sample for heavy metals when the sample is actually seawater would yield results that are not representative of human exposure. That would be highly misleading. The high mineral content and different chemical matrix would cause severe analytical interference and render the instrument's calibration useless. The test used was a toxic metals urine analysis, carried out by a leading laboratory that analyzes human urine samples, not products. Submitting a product sample such as seawater or a mineral-rich solution would therefore produce data that is unreliable and not scientifically valid. Any professional laboratory, once informed that the sample was not urine, would be required to reject it, as analyzing it would constitute method misuse and make the results invalid under official accreditation standards, since the method is validated solely for human urine.
The product goes through a facility that has a certificate of analysis for both incoming ingredients, for the clinoptilolite and for the sea minerals. And then before the end product goes out, there's another certificate that is put together to show that it's clean. So they're looking at things like, bacteria and heavy metals, and because somebody had also said that its Masterpiece is full of uranium. Well, that's certainly not the case. It wouldn't get out of the facility if that was the case.
When we place Masterpiece under a dark field microscope, you can actually see the larger zeolite crystals and clusters in the micron and submicron size, lighting up like tiny Christmas tree lights. Dark field causes these crystalline structures to refract the light, so they appear as bright, shimmering points drifting across the slide. It's actually a beautiful way to visualize natural clinoptilolite itself. So most of the zeolite in Masterpiece is far smaller than anything a standard microscope can capture. The true nano-sized particles in Masterpiece are completely invisible in dark field. That's why they rely on high-resolution transmission electron microscopy. Dr. Robert Young has imaged these particles down to the low nanometer range, and this is where we see the real architecture of zeolite Z. The cage-like structure fully intact and coated in the sea mineral layer. These images also show how the negatively charged zeolite cage can capture graphene oxide quantum dots, drawing them into its structure through electrostatic attraction.
I've looked at cobwebs under the microscope, and I have found very strange fibers that look like Morgellons type fibers. When you breathe on them, they'll start to move, a bit like those fibers that we're finding in the masks during COVID. So we know that in the environment, people are picking up on these strange anomalies, and also in rainwater. There is a scientist in Norway who's been looking at rainwater for many years, and he says it's been there for some time. So they have been doing this geoengineering, spraying us with all this nanotechnology. There's been a lot of people out there looking at things under microscopes and then setting up, Substack pages and making a whole business out of doing what they're doing and gathering a lot of followers and feeding into the fear around all the nanotechnology and making claims. Now, a lot of these microscopists obviously they're not doing their work in a sterile lab. They have no training in material microscopy, so they don't really understand what they're looking at. And they may be taking a lead from, there's been a few active doctors online who have been saying that you're looking at blood and looking at product and saying, making claims that it has hydrogel or polymer fibers or nanotech in it. Now, I'm not saying that what they're saying isn't correct, because we know that through geoengineering, there's nanofibers and nanoparticles that we're breathing in that apparently can go into the pores of our skin, and this is potentially another way of entry for us, besides looking at the COVID shots, and we know what's in the water and the food being mucked around with as well. So there's a potentiality that these slides in people's home offices could be contaminated from the air. They're not working in a sterile environment. So as interesting as it is to be looking at what people are posting, there's no quantifiable evidence. There's no other testing that's done to show that actually the compounds are what they say they are.
We were further challenged because through that work and through that study, we came across a gentleman named Jesse Beltran. Jesse Beltran, for the last 15 years, had been traveling the world and measuring thousands of people. What's known as the Havana syndrome.
Havana syndrome refers to a set of unexplained medical symptoms first reported in late 2016 by US and Canadian diplomats and intelligence personnel stationed in Havana, Cuba.
And this is typically the spot that we find. Yeah. So that's a positive hit there.
Affected individuals describe suddenly experiencing unusual sensations, often a loud or piercing sound, followed by symptoms such as headaches, dizziness or vertigo, nausea, difficulty concentrating, vision or hearing problems, and sleep disturbances.
What we are picking up are RF emissions that should not be emanating at specific focal points around the human body. When we were scanning prior to the COVID event, we were pulling out biosensors or non-consensual implants out of individuals, and those are the lucky ones. After COVID, there was an increasing symptomatic individuals coming to us asking for help. And typically, prior to COVID, we were finding 8 to 10 on the high side areas that were lighting up at specific focal points around the human body. After COVID, the average now is between 12 and 13 on minimum. So that one's just about 100% hit. Our hypothesis is that whatever was in those jabs or the hydrogel and the PCR testing or in the anesthetics, which all the studies are showing there's this nanotech in it, how do you get rid of something that's 50 nanometers in size? We are now testing the general population, and they are turning up positive in the same exact locations as the symptomatic individuals. And so our belief right now is, going with the data, that the symptomatic individuals are turned on and the non-symptomatics have not been turned on yet. And we have articles and information that has been fed to us that this is all frequency-based, and we know it's frequency-based because we're detecting the frequencies, particularly RF, that when the 6G comes into fruition, that the majority of the population will be turned back on.
We analyzed the 6 brands that were sold in Argentina that were injected into people, and we also analyzed the dengue and flu vaccines the ones shown there, as well as saline solutions and dental anesthetic. There you have the complete table of the 10 chemical elements and how many particles from each brand contain these elements. Silicon, which I forgot to mention, and cerium, which I also forgot to mention. Among them, those marked with a star are heavy metals.
We know that there are patents that show that this can be dispersed through our food. And because we have been testing individuals who live in very remote areas, who have never had a vaccine, who don't see the doctor, and live a very organic lifestyle, although they are coming up positive in less locations, like 2 to 3, they're still coming up positive. And so the indication is this is probably being sprayed as well. On May 8th of 2024, Colonel Greg Egren testified before U.S. Congress, the Department of Homeland Security, that this phenomenon is happening on every continent with the exception of Antarctica. We now know, and we have individuals that are complaining of the same symptoms in Antarctica, so this is happening on a global basis.
Today is the third filmed test day, 6 weeks after the second filmed test day, and the scientists and test subjects are in for somewhat of a surprise.
How have you been on the 15 drops twice a day?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to stopping the saltiness.
Oh, it is quite salty.
Yeah, yeah.
If you can see the screen, but we have here
nothing.
This is how it should be. This is how it should be. It should be like clear screen.
This is amazing. It's clear. It's not picking up on anything. Wow. So this was from the increased dosage as well. The 15 drops twice a day. Wow.
Boy.
We're very happy with this news.
This is incredible,
Okay.
man. This is incredible.
Have you taken more drops this second round?
Yeah.
How many did you take?
So instead of taking 5 and 5, I have been taking 15 and 15.
Okay.
No, it doesn't capture either. With this phone, it doesn't capture either. Once again. So, no devices. I started again for another, it goes on for 30 seconds. It scans for 30 seconds. And we'll try with your phone as well.
Yeah, I want to see mine.
Okay. And I'll do it once again then on a laptop to see. No, it doesn't capture here this either.
There.
All right.
Yeah. No signals.
No signal.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So your signal has switched off with 15 drops twice a day.
Now we don't pick up on anything. Nothing till now, even with the phones next to her body. And what was this? The other one.
This is very beautiful. I can't see anything.
Yeah, this
is a clear screen for the first time ever. Testing you.
Hey, Charlie.
Well, let's see. I think we've just done strike for home run.
I want to show the screen, and it is nothing there. Nothing. There's nothing on the screen. This is how it should look like. Nothing.
How beautiful. It's a clear.
Wow.
Nothing coming up. So let me just do onto radar. Nothing.
Yeah. Wow. This is a beauty. Matt,
we have to speak to you. So we just finished testing the 4 test subjects. All of them, no MAC addresses.
Sweet.
Oh! Your intuition was right, Matt. 15 drops twice a day. Nailed it.
Nothing.
There is a product out there, and I've been very staunch on not supporting anything out there unless there was data to support that it works. Volcanic activity just meets the sea, and these are typically in blue zones. And it's natural, Mother Earth makes it, and it's negatively charged. And what the studies are showing is those who are taking the Masterpiece or Zeolite Z, that the graphene, which is in the nanotech, substantially reduced at levels that were very minimal in comparison to the general population.
There are a lot of theories about consciousness, but they tend to divide into two camps. Those who feel that consciousness is something that is produced by the brain. And alternatively, and this is the one I favor, is that we are antennae for pure consciousness. That in fact, consciousness passes through us, filters through us, and allows us to experience these dimensions. The baby is coming from another dimension. And this is the pure consciousness. This is the pure human antenna.
It's absolutely vital that people with that kind of mind and knowledge and expertise focus their attention on how to eliminate this stuff from the body. But the other way you can do it is by your consciousness overriding it. Because consciousness is far more powerful than nanotechnology, but only when it's in its pomp and it's in its power, not when it's suppressed and subordinate.
Is there somewhere within you a memory of before all this? No phones, no jabs, no technology, no big pharma. Some of you watching this film are of the generation of kids playing outside all day until the streetlights came on. There was a time we lived so much more simply with the gifts that nature bestowed on us. Flow, silence, organic creation, music, simple joys, soul creativity, working alongside with and in collaboration with the planet. It's not too late. We can still choose an organic future. What do you wish for the generations to come? Your choice and action matters.
Just a dad in Kansas, and that was obsessed with trying to change the world like I had been my whole life.